Evening ladies and gents, tonight we're going to be reviewing the Next Level Racing FGT Lite foldable cockpit, similar in style to the Playseat Challenge but with different features. You can just see it in the background there behind me, and you may have noticed it's already assembled. Now a few of you probably would like to see how you assemble this, the unboxing, all those usual bits and pieces. So don't fear, that's going to be at the end of the video. Now the reason I've done this is because a lot of people will just want to know the review, whether it's any good, whether it's worth buying, my thoughts on it. And assembling things, unboxing things, for some people is very interesting, but for others not. And also, Next Level Racing have done an excellent step-by-step unboxing and assembly tutorial. So what I'm actually going to do is at the end of my review, I'm going to include their 6-minute assembly and unboxing tutorial. So if you want to skip right to the last 6 minutes and see how to put it together, you can do that. But if you're here for the review and you want to know what I think of it, then keep watching from now. So that's why it's assembled. What I will say is I had no problems assembling it whatsoever. I'll be honest as well, I didn't actually look at the instruction booklet because when I unboxed it, there was what do you fit? You fit the wheel deck to the bottom, you fit the wheel deck, the pedal deck to the bottom, you fit the wheel deck to the sort of midsection, you put the back leg, for want of a better description, on, and you slot the shifter mount in. Just those 4 pieces. So when I had them all laid out on the floor, it was really obvious what went where. So anyone with a little bit of common sense that's maybe assembled flat pack furniture, for want of a simile of some sorts, you'll be able to do this without any problems at all. And as I say, I didn't even pick up the manual, which I'll talk about that in a second actually, which is here. It has step-by-step visual instructions, and it was just so obvious once you get it out and laid out on the floor. Being a man, we don't need instructions. We just go on and we get it done, don't we? So that's what I did. I didn't encounter any problems at all. Everything fits really snugly. There's no play in anything, nothing's loose. The few nuts and bolts that you do have to undo and then do up, the tools come in a little bag to enable you to do that, so you don't need any of your own tools for this. And yeah, it was pretty simple. I'm going to say it probably took me less than half an hour from literally, undoing the tape on the box to having it sat how you see it there now. But as I say, the last 6 minutes of the video is an unboxing and a sort of setup tutorial from Next Level Racing. So it's there if you want to see it, and if you don't, you can just skip obviously past it. So what am I going to say first of all? Actually, what I will say is, talking about this instruction manual, I don't know how many trees Next Level Racing have chopped down to make these manuals, but these are the thickest pages I've ever seen in any instruction manual for anything I've ever bought. I can't really illustrate it on camera. You're not going to appreciate just how thick these pages are. I actually thought it was 2 stuck together to begin with until I checked the page numbering and was like, no, that's definitely just 1 page. So they haven't skimped on quality, on the paper for the manual, and so far I'm going to say they haven't skimped on quality of the cockpit itself either, because it's pretty hefty, and also it's really big. Again, maybe you can't quite make it out in the video because where I'm stood and there's other things in the background, but that is a big chair. That is a big foldable cockpit, way bigger than I was expecting, to be honest. And for people like me who are reasonably wide, I mean there's people who are way bigger than I am, I've sat in it once just to make sure it didn't fall to pieces when I sat in it. It's already pretty comfortable, I can tell you that, and the width is nice to have. So yeah, my first impressions are it's wide, it's quite heavy, the quality feels decent, the quality of the paper they've used in the manual, it's almost cardboard thickness, for want of a better description. I was shocked. But yeah, the manual is clear and easy to understand. The only thing I actually picked this up for was to look at how you fold it away into the fold away position, which I then got distracted by how thick the pages were and didn't actually get to yet. So I'll look at that in a little while when we need to know. I haven't done it. I haven't installed steering wheel, pedal, shifter or anything yet, because what I want to do is just take you on a little walk around of it as it is now and give you, let you know how it feels, show you the adjustments and what have you. Then I'll install my Logitech setup on there. I won't do that on camera because it's really, really simple. There's a couple of screws for the pedal deck, a couple of screws for the wheel deck, and a couple of screws for the shifter. It's really very simple. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll get the camera in my hand, we'll go take a wander around it, and I'll see you guys in a second. Right, let's have a little little close up at this. So we'll start the top and work our way down. So this is what you want to, for want of a better description, is a headrest. It is actually padded versus like these side pieces here, which are not. So you could rest your head on it if you wanted to. The material itself, it's hard to describe what it is. Part of me wants to say it's like a linen material, but then it's also got kind of a suede-y, Alcantara-ish feel to it. But it's definitely not suede or Alcantara. But yeah, it's a pleasant enough fabric. There's no issue there. These bits here are plastic. I mean, I wouldn't recommend you actually put harnesses through it. Probably, no, you definitely would not and then do them up, because you'd end up putting way too much pressure on this material. But they're nice as an aesthetic. You've then got this sort of mesh. Might be able to hear my fingernails on there. This nice mesh here, which goes all the way down here. Now, I like this idea because I'm a bit of a sweaty mofo when it comes to racing. So that's a really nice little touch. You've then got some padding either side here and here. This reminds me of a Gore-Tex type material. Again, I don't think it is, but it looks and feels a little bit like it. So there's some padding, almost like bolsters if it was an actual racing seat, I suppose is what that's designed to simulate. We've then got this strap here. Now, there isn't one this side. Those of you familiar with the Play Seat Challenge will be aware of the two that run either side on that. This one here has a specific task, and that is once you're sat in the seat and you've got all your equipment bolted on, you can eliminate back and forward play in this section here that the wheel is bolted to by doing that strap up as tight as you can. You pull it that way as hard as you can, and it pulls this whole assembly here backwards and removes any play in these fitments here, which is where they slot into. There's one there and there's one here. And well, whilst I'm here, I'll show you how you get in. I watched another review of this probably a month or so ago, and the guy was climbing in and out for some reason. I don't think he realised, in spite of this bright red lever here, and in fact, in spite of the fact that he'd assembled it, that you can just undo that, and then it swings open and allows you to walk in and out like that. So that's how you would get in and out, and you put it back there, you put it over there, and you just go bunk, and there we go. That's that done up. So very easy to get in and out as well. But yeah, that strap there to eliminate the play in these upright sections by pulling it all backwards. What else we got? The wheel plate or wheel deck itself. You can see we've got these 4 Allen bolts at the top here, and then we've got all these adjustment holes. So that allows you to move this whole plate either forwards or backwards, depending on how long your arms are or how big your steering wheel assembly is. Maybe it sticks out a bit further this way, or maybe it's quite flush and you want to move it back and forward. You definitely can. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different holes there. So realistically, what we're looking at adjustment wise, probably 3 different positions, I would say. And then you've got your pre-drilled holes for all your different wheel deck, steering wheel bases. So Logitech, Thrustmaster and Fanatic, I believe. We'll just take a wander over this side here. So this is our shifter mount, and this I really like. Also, I must apologise, I've just realised I haven't put image stabilisation on, so if this is a little bit jerky, that'll be why. But yes, this is your shifter mount. Again, pre-drilled for all the usual shifters, and This, you can adjust the angle of this by slackening off one of these. I'll show you how these work in a minute. These are how you adjust the position and the shape of the whole cockpit. You can see there's some up there, there's another one there, and we've even got some over there. But you can, if you slacken that off, you can adjust that back and forward as well. That is the only adjustment there is for this shifter mount. It can't rotate sideways or anything like that because there's a bolt that runs through it. And if we can see, it's under here anyway. There's one, you can't see it because it's dark, but there's a bolt that runs through there. This plate just slots down straight into, it's very much like this bit here actually. Slots down into one of those, and again, just like this has a bolt going through it, which you can see. There's a bolt going through this one as well. And that's what secures that in place. Now there's one, oh yeah, I'll show you it in fact, because there's one on the other side, depending which part of the world you live in. So here it is. I've got it pointing down because I don't want it sticking up in the way when it's not in use. But there's a hole here that my finger's in, and there's a spare bolt and nut there that you can see. So again, if I was to slack it, well in fact, let's do that. I may as well demonstrate with this one because there's nothing attached to it. So perfect. So this is in the lock position. You would unlock it like that, which now provides all this slack. These are all sprung, and you can see the shape of the teeth that engage across all these different segments, all the way through to the middle there. Now, as far as wear and tear and how solid these are, I'm going to say they're going to last forever, because you only adjust them when you're changing the position of the cockpit and when you put them away and fold it away, and there's not going to be any pressure on them, and they're pretty deep, each of these. So once they lock into place, I can't see them ever slipping, to be honest. And the only reason these are going to wear is if they slip past one another like that, but under force. You know, otherwise you're just going to loosen them off like I've just done. There's no force on them. You can twiddle them around. You're not going to wear those teeth away as such. So you slacken that off, and then you can just grab this and you can move it and point it where you want. So that, again, that's your shifter mount for this side if you wanted to have it on the right hand side. And there's that bolt that runs through there. You take that out, you slot the shifter mount in, and you put your bolt back through and do it up. But as I say, for me, because I am here in the UK, I'm just leaving it sort of pointing down because it's out of my way. Now, what else we've got whilst we're down here? These are the clamps that hold the pedal deck to the bottom of the cockpit, the frame. We've got two adjustable, I haven't actually slackened these off, two adjustable slider bars here that go up and down. I'm going to put my Logitech pedals on here. You know, you've got plenty of scope for adjustment for whatever pedals you want to fit. Bolt them on. I like the fact that it's that you actually bolt them down versus a strap. That's pretty cool. It's going to be much more solid than a strap option. And then again, you've got these adjusters here. But if you wanted to adjust the angle of this, I've set it at ever such a slight incline because I think that's how I'm going to like it. But we'll find out. It might be that I prefer it flat. We'll soon see a bit later on in the video. So yeah, that's your pedal deck. Again, this metal, I'm going to say it's a couple of mil thick. It feels solid. You know, I can't really make it flex. The tubes are pretty fat as well. I can't say I can make those flex. And these joints here, if I try and pull, I'm literally grabbing this, I'm trying to pull it up like this. There's nothing. It's just not, there's no movement there whatsoever. So this arrangement of, you know, they're not cogs or gears, segments we'll just call them, that works really, really well. You know, I can't move that at all. Now, obviously, that isn't the same as me using my feet pushing pedals hard, but we'll see how that is later. It's still a really good sign, though. And again, this wheel deck, look how thick that is. That's probably 3 mil steel. So that's a really solid plate as well. Oh yeah, so talking about that, you can slacken this off under here, or take it off completely, as I've just done by accident. Let's put that back on. And that will allow you to rotate the angle of your steering wheel deck as well, and then you just do it up and it will lock it in place. So you can go backwards and forwards and you can adjust the angle as well. So that's pretty cool. So shifter can be mounted either side. these can be adjusted to move the pedals either all the way that way or all the way that way, wherever you need to in between. You've seen how these adjuster mechanisms work here. I've told you what I think of the fabric that's used and the mesh, which is a great idea. I've explained what the strap does to absorb any play in this. You've seen that shifter mount. I'll just show you again this adjuster mechanism. If I slacken off, because this headrest section here moves independently of the rest of the upright section. So if we slacken that off here, you can then, I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you want to do that, maybe you're really short and you want it over your head, you can, maybe you're sitting outside and you want a sunshade. I don't know. But yes, that's how easy they adjust once you slacken these off, and then you clamp them back in position, just like this, and then there we go, we're solid again. There is a little movement. So this is why that strap over there came in handy for the steering wheel deck, because there's movement here. I can move the back. Now this won't be an issue once you're sat in it, of course, because your weight will be on it. But I think that's pretty much everything there is to say. Oh, you can probably just make out there's a bar runs across here. I guess, yeah, your back will rest against that because there's enough give in this. And if I remember rightly, it actually twists around. Yeah, so you can twist that up and down a little bit and put that exactly as you want it as well. But is there anything else to speak about here? Let's just go from bottom to top. We've spoke about the pedal plate and fitment and adjustment, steering wheel deck, how you get in and out, how you do the adjusters, how you fit the shifter mount, the bolsters, for want of a better description. No, I think that's in the headrest itself. I think that's pretty much everything we need to talk about on this little sort of close-up walk around. As I say, it's a big unit. I mean, there's my JT Omega RS6 seat over there on the right, and you can see how big this FGT looks in comparison to that. It's probably a bit wider, and there's a play seat challenge just tucked away in the background there. You can see that looks noticeably smaller as well. This is a hefty piece of equipment, and also I just need to give a big shout out to Next Level Racing, because they sent this over to me for review free of charge. At least they haven't asked for any money yet. I'm hoping they won't. They got in touch with me, which is really nice of them. So I do appreciate that. But this will be an unbiased review. You know, if it's crap, I'm going to say it's crap, and if it's good, I'm going to say it's good, because it's just the kind of person I am. So, yeah, this is the way it will be. But so far, as you've probably heard in my tone of voice and the things we've walked around already, it looks really solid, looks really well made, looks really well thought out. So it's looking positive so far, which is great, because it's nice to review good products. What else do we need to say? They did actually ask me to mention a couple of things in this review. One of them, there's a picture I'll put up, because there is a spare strap that comes with this, and they show a picture of someone using it to remove some play from somewhere else, or some movement from somewhere else in this foldable cockpit. So I'll put that picture up now. I can't remember off the top of my head where it removes the play from, but you'll see now. We'll be looking at it right now, and you'll see what they've suggested there. And they've also suggested that when the seat is in the F1 position, this is the GT position, when you put it in the formula position, which I'm sure you all know what that looks like, but let's look at it on the box here. You see on the box, we've got this back, this is like the rear leg, which currently is obviously there on the floor. What they've actually said in the email they sent to me is that even in this formula position, you should put that leg, contrary to the picture on the box, so it's resting on the floor, even just a little bit. And that will help stop the middle of this lifting up under hard braking when using high-end pedals. It's something they specifically emailed me about, because it's a problem other people have encountered. So we'll look at that once I'm sat in it in this position. So things we're going to do next, I'm going to fit my steering wheel and pedals and shifter to it. And we'll give it a little go in this position, in some dirt rally, because that's my chosen sim, as always. And then I'll record me changing it from this GT position to the formula position. I won't have done it before. We'll literally be doing it live together, so you can experience it for the first time, just like I am, and just how you guys all will as well, should you choose to buy one. So yeah, that'll do for this section of the video. I'll get everything installed, and I'll see you in a minute. Well, so that's all installed. Probably took me, I don't know, less than 10 minutes, to be honest. The bolts, the 4 bolts for the pedal deck were included. The 2 bolts for the steering wheel base were included, and the 2 bolts for the shifter as well. Everything lined up, and the tools come with it as well. So literally took me less than 10 minutes to bolt it all together, which is great. One thing I will just say, whenever it comes to bolting steering wheel bases to wheel decks, there's usually only, this is my experience with Thrustmaster and Logitech, because I don't have a Fanatic wheelbase, but there's usually only 2 bolts that secure the wheelbase to the wheel deck, and they seem to be always sort of to the front a little bit. So with this especially, the clamps are still there. Do your clamps up as well. That way it will stop any sort of movement, you know, on those 2 bolts. But anyway, that's all in. I'm going to hop in, so we'll show you how to do that. You can see I've got it swung open, like I showed you earlier, and you just walk in, and you sit down, and you're in the chair. And then just bring this in, put it into position, clamp it up. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a quick stage in dirt rally. In fact, let me just get back out the chair and quickly start the screen capture, because I don't have my wireless keyboard up here. So, oh, and F9. Yeah, that's going. Sorry about that. Yeah, on a quick stage in dirt rally, and where the camera's positioned there, you guys are going to be able to see what the FGT Lite does as far as movement and flex, you know, based on my inputs. Now, rally stages or rally simulators are probably a really good one to demonstrate things like flex and wobble, because you're doing a lot of very rapid steering inputs and gear changes, and everything's a bit harsh. Again, when you're doing circuit racing, you're trying to be really smooth, whereas this is, you know, flinging the wheel around, counter steering, sliding around. So it's really going to show you whether we've got any wobble or any flex. And, you know, but sat here now, just my first observation is that I've got quite a bit of leg room. The seat feels really comfortable. It feels nice and wide across my back, so it's going to be good for larger people. Flex wise, you know, we've got a little bit, you can see here. I mean, I'm pressing quite hard to be able to do this. It's completely to be expected. This is, you know, a fold away chair. It's not or cockpit. It's not going to be as solid as a fixed one. So you're going to expect some movement. There's a bit there. I wouldn't say it's over the top compared to some others. And side to side, there's basically no side to side movement there at all. So that's a good sign so far. The shifter, the mount there, you know, I'm giving it a fair bit of stick. There's no more movement on that than there is on my GT Amiga Art cockpit, for example. I would compare that to, and you know, pressing the pedals here, there's no movement really at all. And I've already checked that I can press the Logitech G920 brake pedal all the way down to 100% braking, and nothing moves. The chair's not lifting up off the ground. You know, we're good. It feels solid, you know, in position. And part of that, I think, is it's quite wide, which gives it a stable footprint, and it's relatively heavy. So, you know, especially with everything on it as well. And then again, you know, my weight, it's keeping it solid in place. So let's just get this stage done, and I'll tell you if I feel any sort of feedback or wobble or flex as I'm driving. This is my first go, so I'm going to share this with you. And then once I've done that, I'm going to spend about an hour playing in this seated position. And then we'll come back and I'll video me changing it to the formula position, and so we can see how you do that and how long that takes. And then I'll spend about an hour driving in the formula position, and I'll come back right at the end and tell you how both positions were as far as comfort over that hour. You know, did I get any back pain, aches, niggles, all that sort of crap that you might get when you're sat in a seat for a long time. So let's get this stage done, and just you pay attention to the side here. and this section here and the pedals and everything is, you know, and the back of the seat as well. See if you notice any sort of flex or wobble. I've got the game sounds like turned pretty much right down, so I can't hear any of the instructions. This won't be the best rally stage ever, and to be honest, I may not even do the whole stage. I might just do a little stint just to show you, you know, how this FGT Lite is handling, you know, your sort of rally style driving and inputs, which, as I say, aside from drifting, is probably the harshest type of input it's ever going to have to deal with. Everything else we do as sim racers is much smoother, gentler, you know, you're not yanking on handbrakes to go around corners. And what have you, and F1 especially, the steering inputs are very small because they have really small steering rotations, sort of 360 degrees odd. But anyway, yeah, how is this feeling right now? Well, I'm going to say it feels really solid. I'm yet to feel any movement from anything in the FGT Lite, not the steering wheel base, the steering wheel deck, or where the pedals are, or even in the upright section of the seat. So you almost wouldn't know you're in a fold-away seat, to be honest with you, which is really good. I mean, it isn't it's not a cheap item, so you want it to perform well. Depending what country you're in, it's somewhere between 250 and 300. You know, pounds, euros, dollars, wherever you happen to be. So it isn't cheap, and you're getting towards entry-level cockpits at that sort of money. You know, ones that don't fold away, ones like the Art that's sat over there in the corner of the room. I think that's £350 for comparison. It might be a little more. I can't remember. I bought it a couple of years ago, so I haven't checked the price. But you know, the sort of person that's going to be buying a fold-away, well, the sort of people that will buy this setup will be people that either need to have something that can be folded away, that can't be permanently set up, or someone that wants to be able to change from a GT racing position to a Formula racing position, or both. You know, maybe you want to be able to do that, and you want to be able to fold it away. So that's who this is aimed at. It's not really aimed at people that want to stack cockpit. Because if you did, you would buy one, and you wouldn't buy this. Oh. But yeah, no, I can't feel any movement in anything. It feels solid, really solid. I would imagine this would have no problem handling any sort of wheelbase except the direct drive wheelbase. I can't see it being a problem. Any of the Thrustmasters or Fanatic belt-driven ones, I see no reason why this wouldn't handle those. Like I say, I'm not feeling any real movement at all. And as far as, you know, so far, the initial comfort is really good as well. And you can adjust the angle of the back of this seat independently from the rest. So if you want it to be a little more reclined, you can be. To be honest, it's almost infinitely adjustable within the degrees of rotation of those little clasps. So whilst it technically says, you know, you've got GT position and Formula position, you can go anywhere in between as well. So you can literally put it exactly where you want if you want something a little bit more bespoke, something that you find particularly comfortable. There's no reason why you can't do that. There's no law that says you can only use one or the other. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, so far I'm feeling pretty positive about this. And as I say, I'm not the sort of person that will say it's good when it isn't. I'd soon point out if there was something I didn't like. So far there isn't. So here we are at the end of the stage. One other thing I do need to point out, when I was doing that little walk around before, I didn't notice that you can actually adjust the height of these front legs. There's two little push buttons, might be in shot. One here, shiny silver one, same the other side. And if you just squeeze those, this whole bottom piece here slides in and out. So what that would do is raise your thigh portion of the chair up, which tilts you back a little bit as well without independently tilting the upright section. Now, one of the other things I've done since the previous portion of the video is I had those pedals elevated slightly at an angle. For me, I didn't like that, so I've put them flat, as you might be able to make out. And the other thing, this is one thing that I might say is a negative, the pedals are currently all the way forwards. They won't go any further forward than where they are now. And I'm only 5'11", or 5'11", 6 foot, somewhere in that region. And I wouldn't want these pedals any closer. You know, I wouldn't want to have to bring my legs in any further. So I think if you're a taller person, over 6 foot, you may find that you'd want more length, which you don't have. I mean, if you're another few inches higher, your knees might even be up here a little bit more, perhaps banging around between the wheel deck and this framework. I don't know, because I'm not a few inches taller, obviously, but that's a possibility. Now again, you could extend these legs down further, which would lift this all up higher, so giving you some more knee clearance, and that would actually extend the distance between the pedal deck and yourself by, you know, a couple of inches as well. So it might be a little bit of a fiddle around or a bit of a compromise for taller people. Wide people have got no issue because it's really quite wide. But yeah, that pedal deck is all the way forward. It won't go any further forward. So I think you could do with a little more adjustment forwards. I mean, some people like to drive with their knees quite bent anyway, so in which case it wouldn't be a problem. But I like to drive more with them stretched out. So that's the only negative I come across so far, is that we can't slide them out any further. Anyway, I'm gonna spend the next hour doing some dirt rally in this position, and then when you see me next, we'll be changing this from this GT position to the Formula position, and we'll go through that. So yeah, I'll see you in a second, and we'll do that. Right, let's have a little go at changing the position of this from this GT position to the Formula position. Now, in the instruction booklet, it doesn't actually show you how to change from one position to the other. It doesn't show you how to fold it away either, but they do give you a link to their YouTube channel where there are video demonstrations of everything. Now, logically, I should have watched those, but I'm a man, and again, we don't like instructions. We know what we're doing anyway. So let's just have a go at doing it without having watched any of their videos, and just go by the picture on the box. Because in reality, all we've got to do is slacken off these clamps and change the position of everything from where it is now to where we want it to be. So I'm going to block the camera a little bit because I need to get to the ones on this side. But let's have a quick goose at that picture on the box, and let's go from front to back. So the first thing we need to do is prop our pedals up higher, because we're going to be sitting, yeah. So let's slacken off these two front ones. Again, apologies if you can't see exactly what I'm doing, but I can't move the camera around all the time, it would just be silly. So I've slackened the two front ones off, and we're going to bring them up to that position, and we're going to clamp them in like that. That's pretty much, yeah, that's upright. I mean, these pedals might not be the best for a Formula driving position anyway, because they're going to point at a strange angle, but we'll see soon enough. So that's done there. Then what do we do next? It looks like this front leg here actually then gets extended out that way a little bit. So we'll slacken that one off, we'll slacken that one off, and we'll go out, I'm going to say one, whoop, that's more than one click. We'll go out one click, like this. Yeah, that probably doesn't look far out. And the next thing we're going to do is sink this seat, well, on its arse, basically, is the best way to describe it. And that's going to be a weird one to do. I'm going to undo the two back ones and just kind of see what happens. I wanted to do this and share it with you all, because that way you'll experience it for the first time just the same as I am. Now, in the picture on the box, this rear leg is up off the ground. Now, if you remember what I said earlier, Next Level Racing said not to do that, because when you do brake hard using a high-end set of pedals, or to be honest, even these G920 ones, as we all know, take a lot of force to hit 100%, the middle will lift off the ground. So we're going to go with what they said and not the picture on the box. So we should be able to gradually lower this down. Now the next position is going to be there. Okay, it's still on the floor. Now this isn't up as high as we would like, so let's now slacken these off again and raise it up in the middle one, like that. That was the sound of my shifter spinning round over here because that is on the same adjuster as what everything is. So that's a good point actually. What angle would I want that at? I probably want that there. Although, you know, in Formula we'll be using paddles anyway. So I think that, close this, oh this clamp's not quite in place. So where do we want that to be? About there? Yeah, probably about there. So that's how long it took to change position, which really isn't that long. Probably less than 5 minutes, and that's with me waffling at the same time. The only thing I will say now is that that back bit is too upright. I wouldn't even be able to get in that gap. So I'm going to slacken these rear two again and just see if I can tilt the seat upright back on its own, which we should be able to do. Although you're kind of going to have to stop. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's that. And that's that. So that, if it shows up well on camera, hopefully that looks like a Formula driving position. Because yeah, they say not to have that rear leg off the ground because it'll allow the middle section to raise up when you brake hard. So yeah, I think that's it. You could probably retension this strap if you wanted to, and I may do, but let's hop in and see how this driving position feels, shall we? So same thing, we undo our little clasp and we swing it out. This is going to be weird. Ugh. I can't say I've ever, okay, this is really weird. I can't say I've ever sat in this sort of position to race at home before. Now, to be honest, I mean, it feels kind of cool. I think this is where the infinite adjustment comes in, because you could tweak this angle up a bit more if you wanted to, which might be a thing to do. I think maybe this bit's a little bit too low. I might have a play in a second off camera. I don't want to waste you guys' time. But sitting like this, the pedals now feel further away, which is interesting. So that issue I said about taller people might not apply to the Formula driving position. Well, certainly how it is right now, it definitely doesn't. You know, if anything, I would potentially, I wouldn't bring the pedals closer, but I like the extra distance I've now gained. But you can see how long that took to do, not very long. I want to play around with it some more because I actually think I'll probably want to bring this one up another notch and bring the seat then forward another notch as well. I think I'm a little bit too reclined at the moment. And of course the other thing you can adjust is the steering wheel from here. If you just slacken those off again, you could actually rotate the steering section forwards or backwards. But this is where things do get a little tricky, because the moment you undo those clamps, and don't ever do it when you're sat in it, by the way, because it'll probably just go plunk flat on the floor. The moment you undo those clamps, everything can move. So when you are in this sort of, you know, position like that here, and you undo the clamps to adjust maybe this, you'll need to hold this where it is, at least with one hand, otherwise it might just go flat to the floor even without you being sat in it. And like you saw my shifter mount a minute ago, or you may have heard it, you wouldn't have seen it, it spun round because obviously it was loose, nothing holding it in place. But anyway, I want to fiddle with this, and I'm going to spend an hour driving in this position, and then I'll come back and we'll try and fold it away, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it. So let me clamber back out, and I'll see you in a bit. I thought I'd just quickly come back and show you the position I settled on for the Formula position. It probably took me 10 attempts to find what I'm going to call the best position for me. And to be honest, the back of the seat is a little too upright still for me. But if I was to go back another notch on the adjustment, then you're leaning way too far back, you're almost looking up at the ceiling. So this is where I've ended up. It might be fine for some people, because some people do drive really, really upright. I actually prefer to be ever so slightly reclined. And in this Formula position, I just can't be with the FGT Lite. This is as close as I can get. If I was to maybe put a cushion at the bottom of my back, maybe that would help a little bit. But I've tried all the adjustments, and this is the best I can get. You can see it is a formula position. The pedals are fine, no issue with those. It's simply for me that I'd like to be just a touch more reclined, and it would be perfect. But every body is literally different shape and size, so you may not have an issue with that. That's personal just to me. But yeah, this is where I ended up. I'm a little bit sweaty because I've now been racing for some time in both positions. In fact, I may as well do my conclusions from here, really. I think the product's great overall. I think it's solid. This position was just as solid as the first position was. No flexed that you notice with this G920 setup. No wobbling, no nothing. It's rock solid where it sits on the floor. The back is really upright. It's really firm. That doesn't move around, doesn't flop around. I've had no comfort issues. To be honest, it's very comfortable. The width of it makes a big difference to me, and makes it particularly comfortable. The fabric they're using, the mesh, it's absolutely fine to sit on. Doesn't cause any discomfort whatsoever. The only thing that is slightly ball achy is getting in and out in this F1 position, because you're literally sat with your ass on the floor. So there's almost no way to get in except fall in, because you're sat on the ground. If you imagine just trying to sit on the floor in your front room, but with your legs out in front of you, trying to sit down, that's what's happening here. I'm not going to show you. I know you'll want me to show you. I'm not going to show you because you'll all just laugh. But basically, you fall into the seat, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not really a drawback. It's quite comical, if anything. Maybe if you're elderly or infirm, perhaps, and you might struggle to get down low, then it might be an issue, but then you probably wouldn't be buying something like this anyway. So, in fact, it's not going to be my final conclusion. We still need to fold it all away, don't we? So, but yes, getting back to the sort of end of the review of it, as usability-wise, it's great. There's no problems with it whatsoever that I can find. Like I say, the only issue that might be a problem for some people is how far you can move the pedals away in the GT position if you're particularly tall. Shorter people would have no issues. People my height, 5'11", 6 foot, would be right on the limit of where you want to be, perhaps, depending on what you like. But the build quality is great, the comfort is great, it was easy to assemble, it's pretty easy to adjust and change position. It will take you quite a few attempts, unless you're lucky of course, to find your perfect position. But once you've found your perfect position, as you saw in the previous segment, it probably only takes 5 minutes to change from one to the other. So yeah, it's all good. I can't really fault it. There will be linked in the description to the Next Level Racing Amazon page if you want to buy one, if you get one through the channel. Obviously it helps me a little bit with a small amount of commission, so I would appreciate the support. If you like what I'm doing here and find it helpful, that would be good. But in the meantime, that's the end of the review. I'm going to get out of this now, and we're going to try and fold it up and see exactly how that goes. Again, I haven't watched, and I probably should have, you're going to see me get out at least. So you can see I've got to lean on the floor here and kind of roll myself out. So I haven't watched the video on how you're supposed to fold this away. So we're going to go by the picture on the box again. But, I don't know actually. The picture on the box doesn't give us that much to go by, having already glanced at it. What shall we do? Shall we give it a go and just see what happens? And then if I screw it up, I can always watch the video afterwards. Might make good entertainment, hey? Yeah, screw it, we'll do that, shall we? So, where do we start? That's the question. But yeah, it's a cool product. It's a really good product. I've got no issues with that, which is what you guys will want to know as part of a review goes. Now, let's have a look at the picture on the box. I'll bring that over and show it to the camera. This is really just for stupidity's sake, because, well, we all like a little bit of stupidity in our lives, don't we? So here's a picture of it folded up. It don't really show us a lot, does it? It shows us, well, no, it gives us some clue. So we'll see what I can figure out if I don't kick my camera over first. What we definitely know from this picture is that the back leg here is folded all the way up against the back of the seat. So we can definitely do that. Like that. Now, what we don't know is where the seat goes, whether it stays here or whether we fold it forwards to there. Also, this is folded down, I've noticed. And being as I can't see it folded backwards in the picture, we can only assume it folds forwards, like this, which it definitely does. Now, does it go any further? No, that's as far as it goes. So it goes to there. Okay, so it's not flush completely, but it's in. Now, do we need to undo this strap? I'm going to say no, we don't. Now, in the final picture, the steering wheel is literally sat flush against this. So for us to do that, I'm going to say we slacken these two, and then we pull this assembly towards us. Sound good? I think it sounds good. So let's have a go. If it doesn't all collapse on us. We might even be able to grab the steering wheel and pull it. Nope. Oh, this middle bit. Yeah, grab the middle bit. Are they undone enough? See, this is where you've got lots of different sections all loose at once that might cause us issues. That was the sound of the shifter rotating again on its axis. So we're in pretty snug there, so let's do the bottom ones up. Now what else can we do here? Well, I think, to be honest, this shifter spinning round is always going to be a problem when you've got it loose, because the shifter and the shifter mount are quite heavy, and whenever you slacken them off, they're just going to roll round like that. So something just to be aware of. So they're all up like this. This is up here. In the picture, see, weirdly, in the picture, I'm sure this is sitting lower down. But let's have a little look. No, I don't think it is. So the next thing we need is for this bit to fold down and that to come up towards it. So is that just going to move? Ouch. Careful you don't nip your skin like I just did. So that can come in that far before it won't give it any further. So then what are we left with? Just this piece here, which of course can go up to there. You can slacken these off and fold that like that. So is that as folded as it gets? Does it go another one? No, it doesn't go another one. So that, which way does that need to be? There we go, that's like that. That's like that. Now, it doesn't quite look the same as the picture. Let's have a little goose at that picture again. But I'm not sure why it doesn't quite look the same as the picture. Oh, okay. They've raised that little bar up there at the top as well. So we can do that, but to be honest, all it's going to do is make it look a little tidier. You've got that up there like that. I suppose you can use it as a handle. But that, see, I was just thinking what stops that. Oh, the strap. It comes with a strap that's in the box, because I haven't obviously had it out and done this before. But I'm going to assume that once this is up where you need it to be, you just put a strap around. Now, this is probably the worst video of how to fold away the FGT Lite, but I just thought it would be funny to give it a go and see what happens. So we are looking like what the picture looks like, aside from the fact that I haven't strapped this together. So that is it folded away, as best as I can tell. I mean, it's not the slimmest of fold away. I mean, it looks like we might be able to get another notch maybe. Maybe I'll play around in the future. I'll also link you to the actual Next Level Racing video where they fold it away. I'm going to watch it myself because maybe you can fold it away better than what I've done. This is like the end of the worst review ever, isn't it, really? Don't even know how to fold it away. But it's going to end up looking something like this. Maybe you'll just find the experience funny anyway. Which means it's reasonably fat to put away somewhere. And also, let's just see how heavy it is. Because it's just quite a lump. And now we've got everything attached to it. I mean, it's heavy. You wouldn't want to carry it. Yeah, I'm thinking something without that strap. It's going to sit down, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's reasonably heavy. You wouldn't want to carry it up and down stairs, you know, in one go. And if you've got something heavier attached to it, like maybe a Thrustmaster TSPC racer or a Fanatic shifter and V3 pedals, which it will quite happily take, I would say, it's going to be a hell of a lump. But, you know, it can't be helped. It's just the way it is. With good quality and a fair size comes, you know, a reasonable weight. So I guess that's just to be expected. But anyway, aside from my pathetic attempt at folding it away, and that's a good example in why we should all read or watch the instructions. Aside from that, that's been the end of my review. Next Level Racing, if you're watching this, I hope that was good enough for you guys as well. I've been through all the important bits that I can think of, and the overall review is a positive review from my standpoint and from my experience. If you need a fold away seat and you want what I'm going to say is probably the best one out there for rigidity and comfort, then this is the way to go. If you need one, or no one ever needs one, if you want one that switches position from Formula to GT, this is your only option. It does it well. The only issue I had was that upright being a touch too upright for my comfort, but again, that's a personal thing. And the pedal deck not moving quite as far forward as, again, I would like, but everybody is different. Everything bolted together easily. There's only 4 pieces to fit out of the box. 4 pieces, not 3, 4. And that all went together really easily without any problems, really quickly. My wheel, my pedals, my shifter, all mounted on in under 10 minutes. No problems there either. So that is the end of Carl Gosling's not so quality review. I hope you found it amusing, entertaining, helpful, informative, whatever. Hopefully you've all taken something from it. And again, a big thanks to Next Level Racing for sending it over. Perhaps we can do some other things in the future. If you like the way I've presented this video, thanks for everyone that watches, thanks for my subscribers, the people that donate to the channel, my couple of patrons as well. And I'll see you guys all in the next one, which will probably be a direct back-to-back comparison between this and the Play Seat Challenge, as they really are the only 2 sort of competitors in this field, ignoring the X-Rocker, which A, I don't have any experience with, and B, it looks a little bit cheap and cheerful. So yeah, we'll leave that one for now because I don't have it. So yeah, see you guys on the next one. As always, take it easy. you.